Hello, welcome Kapil Raj to LOL, Love for Literature. You may wonder what is love for literature, love of literature. Normally we say love for literature, isn't it? Dania came up with this term saying we all have love for literature. Does literature love all of us? Only some of us. So love of literature. Literature loves all of us, all the three of us at least in this, and whoever is listening, going to listen the podcast. We are very honored, Kapil Raj, to have you in discussion today, an activist and an author. So, Dania, over to you. Please kindly introduce him formally. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, Mr. Kapil Raj is an author and a professional, and his writing reflects the understanding of the social functioning and human psychology. With the heart of a philosopher, mind of a realist, and a deep-rooted nonconformist, he lives many lives yet stealing time for the most precious thing which matters to him: crafting plots, playing with characters, and weaving stories with inscribed messages. I have I'm sure that we will know more about him as we go through the session. I did not want to go with the intro that bio that you had given us because it was very generic, and I went and searched for your books on Goodreads and stuff, and your intro there was much better. I liked this intro in Goodreads, and I wanted to make sure I read that instead of the bio you had given us, and I hope you don't mind it. So welcome to LOL, and let's get started with the session.
Okay, Kapil Raj, I'm going to start with a basic question on Endurer only, because that's your major work as of now. And it's a sensitive subject of a rape victim. For aspiring writers, they write historical fiction, they go for research, and for such a social issue, so that too, rape. To write a novel for a man, especially, I'm not being a feminist here, just how is it? How difficult it is? Or did you meet a victim for crafting the novel? Let's begin with this question. Please share with us.
Well, I know it is quite an whenever in many sessions somewhere or other I'm being touched by this particular question, and trust me, it's never an easy or a straightforward answer. But let me because it touches the research part and my motivation to write this novel. So to I have a very clear thought process. There is no inspiration of behind writing or starting my career with this subject. It is mere product of frustration, which I experienced while I always wanted to write something that I knew that that insect of art was always there in me, writing stories or diaries and things like that. And I wanted to write something. I was not sure to something which I could connect to.
Okay.
At the same point, it was always churning in my head, but I was not sure. I got many suggestions. Then at that point of time, I remember in 2000, that Nirbhaya incident happened. If you are aware, 2000, if I'm not wrong, 13. So at that point of time, and they were all mass, candle marches and everything was happening at that point of time. And, I was quite attached. I think the whole nation was attached. And somewhere in my mind, I was deeply touched, or, not touched, but deeply hit, somebody stabs you in your heart. Then how can this happen with somebody, when the body was taken to the hospital? I'm not sure if you're aware or not. Only 5% of the intestines were remaining in our body. Rest all of it were taken out by an iron rod. Now, who in his or her sane mind can even think of doing that? So I was I was just going through and all, and what happened was it was a personal experience. Our housemate didn't came for one day, and wives have usual habit of asking, why didn't you came, what happened, and this and that. So she told me that these women, all those housemates, used to stay in one open area nearby the end of the city and all. So they all go out to work in the morning, and they come back in afternoon or so. So when she came back, her sister's 3-year-old daughter was found dead and being used as a body. 3-year-old child that, and she was not alive. So we asked her that, if you do you want some help, should we go to police, this and that, and she plainly refused. She said, we are not going for any legal procedure and all, it is not going to work, and we are not going to get that kind of support and all. And they just simply let it pass. And I was listening to that conversation, and my hands clenched at that very moment. And I realized I had to do something on this. I have to write on it. I just want to know one question: why does it happen? And with that started my research, talking to people, going to villages, rural areas, even having discussion with my so-called high class friends. There's no line of what is high class or low class, but from various segments, with girls, with women, from various strata of societies. And more I delved into my research, the more uncomfortable discussions I had. Trust me, slowly or steadily, so many people became part of this novel. So coming back to the original question, was there a victim? I'm not sure I should be happy or sad or whatever I should feel. The point is I met many. And it's not about the one final crime we are talking about. It's also about a childhood trauma when an uncle went out of his limits and crashed a small child, and she's fine. She has not even told that to her husband or family ever, because nobody would trust her you know so with that whole thing in my mind, I started writing this particular novel, the story, because there are a lot of non-fiction on this subject. Plus there is a legal angle also. You cannot directly mention the names, and you cannot do many other things with regards to this particular subject. Nobody wants them to be open, so I weave the whole logic, and I crafted a storyline around it. And when you will read this novel, you would feel and realize, and you can see from the mind of victim, or I must say endurer, and you will be able to feel what happens in our mind, how world automatically turns down. And I kind of started to get one particular subject which nobody touches, and that is the role of society in the whole scheme of this whole crime. Trust me, sexual assaults and rapes, or anything which you say, it's one thing which is existent across the whole ages of humanity. Trust me, this is what I would say. And it is spreading, not even like fire, but it is a kind of pandemic. If I'm comparing, I'm damn confident I can give you examples. It is no more less than any pandemic, because with a biovirus, or an enemy, whom you have to shoot. But here the person is sitting in front of you, he's eating food, you're serving him, and you don't know what can happen. And the worst case is, which I wanted to mention, it is beyond gender also. So throughout
Yes.
our discussion, wherever I'm using he or she, are not meant to be taken literally. It is for the understanding of people. It is beyond gender, and there is no pronoun which actually defines that, that he is actually always a culprit or she is actually a culprit. It is always easy to say that, police is a problem, hospital laws is a problem, this is a problem. What about us as society? Why do we say कि भाई लड़की मैली हो गई? Why, if such crimes happen, why would she be finding difficulty in getting a good groom or marriage? Why? In India, if you would see my recent of the post, Supreme Court of Supreme Court of India in one of the cases just
Has
gave
recently,
a
yeah,
statement. Yeah, the
that,
bench,
yeah,
you can see my write up, and
the
the
Supreme,
bench
yeah.
clearly said, I mean, it is a joke on our whole constitution, the law, the
Yes, it
process.
is a joke.
What
Yes,
message?
yes,
What message are you giving? You're saying
yes.
marrying a
The Chief
rapist is
Justice
just a
said that.
serve.
It's terrible.
Yes,
I saw.
No, he
yes,
has said, he has literally said that your sentence is going to be reduced if you're going to marry the girl, which is literally like the
and you
worst
will
thing.
not
It
lose your
is
job.
What?
exactly.
I mean,
And
what?
this is what
What
Ka
if?
Panchayats would do. It,
What?
we don't need a Supreme Court for this. We
What
just
if
need Ka
she doesn't
Panchayats for
want
this. We
to?
just need like, that didn't matter because it was a
It
child. The
doesn't
child was
matter
just
for
17
them, is
years
it?
old. Yeah.
So,
Anyways,
so
This was
coming,
not even a woman being raped. It was a child. She should have been tried under POCSO, and just the justice should have just been served. And this was the reaction of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of India, not just like one normal
yes,
judge.
man.
He was the Chief Justice of India, who has, it's his constitutional responsibility to hold up justice, you know. And when someone in that position can say stuff like this, it is disheartening. Definitely
So,
disheartening.
so that is where I'm coming from, and that was the whole point of Endeavor, that we as a society has to start taking the initiative and question the taboos which are prevalent in our society. I'm not talking about, I'm not touching feminism. I'm not touching any other topic. I'm just simply saying, on micro level, look in your homes, talk to those, your own relatives. I am telling you, just grab any book of crimes which happens in dowry cases. 70 to 80% of the cases, mother-in-law is always involved. I'm not giving a pure statistics, but that is a general idea. You can always open this the thing, and you will always notice this. The role of women, men, beyond gender, it has to come up, and we as a society have to stand to this particular aspect and see in mirror, what have we done? Forget police, forget laws. They are created by us. Police is coming back from society. If this judge or bench is able to say this, they are giving message to the society. You know, that is where we are failing. And we are not, and I'm not, you call me, people tell me I get hyper. People tell me, I kind of lose my patience or whatever, calm. Usually I'm a very calm person. But my point is, it is not about failing. It's about that you're not even listening. You're not ready to learn also. And that's the point of Endeavor. We have to stop victim shaming. We have to stop that judgment which society gives. That crime, that torment is for one or two or whatever instances, but the whole life trauma which society gives, why are we not talking about that? That's the ideology of Endeavor. And that's what this
Understood.
novel is all about. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. The your internal rage is coming out as you even explain the process of your book, and it is very heartwarming for us to see like people like you and people who want to bring a change in the society. My question is, were you an activist by nature, and was Endura just a tool you used to express your activism, or was Endurer the reason that you became an activist?
Well, I think this is again, there is not a straight answer to it, but I'll tell you something. In life is a journey, and we don't usually know what direction things taken. I started with this particular incident. I didn't knew what I am going to become in next few years. And with this novel, I found myself, and I realized that this is what I am going to do for my entire life. So Endurer became a part of this whole motivation. And with that is starting the chain, because that's first novel. I have at least three more novels in pipeline, which is going to come in within 2 years, and all are based on one or other social cause or issue.
super.
So that's the whole way of how I write, think, and what I have become. So I want to confront the, and I want to make world a better place to live, because by nature, I'm always a non-conformist, even in my personal life. My parents, my relatives, they kind of always say this, because I don't go by the usual logic. But then, coming back to the original question, that is what life has become. And endurer is again is a one bit to the whole scheme of things which I am going to live through my whole life.
Fantastic. I love that. So, how was Endurer published, Kapil Raj? Did you try sending to the big six, big seven, whatever they call? Were there rejections? And if at all there were rejections, could you find the reason for them rejecting? Because such a powerful theme, and so much to do with the affairs of the state, the social issue. So why couldn't they properly publish in the traditional way? Can you share with us? That will help aspiring writers.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I will tell you. See, I will give you two perspectives, and I think it is going to be extremely helpful to all writers, be it so-called traditional or be called self-published. And I will give you how things happened with me. I got absolute rejection. I have a formal email from one of the prominent publishing house claiming we cannot, and that's the line. I'm not fudging. I have the email, and it said we do not want to go with this project as it is not commercially viable.
See?
Right? Yeah. So it's not about quality. It's not about book. It's not about
The
you.
theme.
That's the thing. No, forget about all of it. It clearly mentioned the project is not commercially viable. It opened my eyes. Trust me. And you say it was properly published or not published. The point is, the point to focus is, and please remember this. I think if this word, if this, and I thank you that my words can go to the larger audience, because I meet so many writers who are not motivated, who have lost their motivation. More than the publishing right now, it is important that reader gets your book, right? Yeah. So I will tell you my process. I went to almost every single publisher available in the country, even to those who do not accept publishing manuscripts in email. They want hard copy. I went. I stay in Delhi NCR. I literally traveled on my foot, and I submitted those hard copies, and start to end, I juggled up the whole chain. And during this whole process, I got one of the Right India publisher, which finally published the book. Even from the self-publishing mediums, I got a rejection. Can you believe me? It's forget
That's
traditional.
that's
Yeah.
a joke.
So yeah. So my point is, I and with Right India, it was a mixed kind of publishing where we both took the risk. It was a hybrid kind of contract, wherein if something risky happens, I cannot give you the detail, but the whole thing was mitigated between the author and publisher. So I don't know right now what traditional publishing means in India, because trust me, you can go and ask, and somehow or other you will get different costs associated with the marketing, or distribution, or this or that. Every single author, the whole industry is running because somebody wants to write or give a story to its readers. So there is no easy way, there is no direct way. It's all about that you make your presence available into the market. You might see few of the authors who have one of the best brand names, and the quality of books you might agree to or you don't agree to, but the point is it sells. And that brings me to my email which I got. It's not commercially viable. So if it's same that what happened was 50 Shades of Grey. People said it is the worst written book. There are movies on it. Now, as a literature, respect, as we all do respect, what is your take? I don't want to say anything on it. My point is, don't lose hope and ensure that your book reaches to the readers. And that is where I really want to talk about. The moment I got the book, it didn't stop there. For continuously 3 years, you can see my I don't know, social platforms or readers or what, but continuously for 3 years, I have been promoting. I won't say promoting. I have been working. Going to the market, talking to shop owners, talking to the readers on ground. I got so many people, personally, who got associated with me and ensured that this book reaches to the people. I can tell you that few students came to me and they told me, sir, we gave us bookmarks, something, give us something, and we want to distribute this in our college. And with that open series of events, and I almost traveled half of the country, at least 7, 8 cities, 15, 20 sessions. And if I am not wrong, I crossed so many thousands of audience in my speeches and sessions. So I don't know what success means. I don't know what traditional hybrid self-publishing means. My point is, if your book is reaching to the readers, that is what matters, and it will eventually create a platform for your next novel. And slowly, now I will I want to quote another book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Tell me one person in this world who has not listened to that book. Have you heard the name Rich Dad
Yeah.
Poor Dad? Yes, that was a self-publishing novel. Nobody published it. Nobody. They said this is crap. That is what the author said. It was absolute crap. So my point is, publishing is easy or bad. Don't think about it. Think about how your book will reach to the readers. What's your segment? Does it touch romance? Does it touch history? Does it touch what? Even today, I'm getting, like few months before, I got one email from one of the students who has submitted dissertation on this novel. I was so proud, that one simple email made my whole 3 years of hard work, into, I don't know if that is not success. I don't know what is. If people are, and that is organic. It's organic. I don't, and I'm not proud. I'm just want to say that's what the whole intent was, that it reaches. And
But
it's not
it
this
makes
book. And
us proud, Kapil Raj, to know an author who's making his novel. The novel is becoming an activism, and
yeah,
and an important message also the novel carries. Therefore, it's amazing. It's awesome. Thank you. So
and
Daniel.
and I want to give one, sorry, I want to give one small example too with regards to distribution. I
Okay.
went to many distributors, those, I went to distributors, I went to those cafes where, you can sit and work, and all those, they also display some books, some small libraries. And I got a feedback that people don't want to touch negative. This book
Oh.
seems negative. Yeah, even
Oh.
that is one thing. So you have to understand. So you can get pushback in every single step of your process. Don't think that, if you, even your book is published by the top publishing house of the country, it means that your book will sell. It won't happen even then. I can tell you this.
Got
Understand.
it.
Yes. Negative,
Yeah.
that's,
I think we have to, like he said, we have to not give up. That's the point here. Perseverance is what is needed for anything, not just the
Yeah.
book, but for you to even for you as an activist. I'm sure those perseverance that you have followed here would have helped you. And my next question is, when we touch on sensitive, very sensitive topics like rape or murder, or other abuses or crimes against a particular part of the society, not just women, just like another group of people, there should have been a point in your writing process where you should have thought, like, has this gone beyond fiction, has this gone beyond emotions, and just, you must have gelled with that cat. All of us do, like when we write, we gel with that main, at least with the main character, so have there been times when you were not sure if what you were writing was fiction, or if it had become so realistic that it was almost non-fiction?
Well, the boundaries were always crossed. You are absolutely right in saying that, because as a writer, we all know that our characters sit on right and left side of our shoulder, and you are not writing. It's they who are giving their own dialogues, their fears. They are creating up situations, and that is what happens. And I can tell you that this book is written in first person, so the voice is female. And to write this novel, trust me, it has been such a traumatic experience, because at I still do not, I skip few pages. I still read my book. I feel that I could have, we all do, that this part I should have, because we all grow. See,
Yes.
I'm not a, I'm a flowing stream. I'm not a pond. I just want to. I remember, Bruce Lee, be water. So I am water. I flow. And I feel that this part could be better, or this part can be slightly toned down. But my point is that when I wrote that book, I forgot what I really forgot what is right, what is wrong, what is reality, what is fiction. I simply forgot. And in the editing process, we all get stuck in the endless loop of editing, third time, fourth time, and there were pages which, whenever they came, there were tears in my eyes. And I, for few weeks, I also almost got into the situation of insomnia, because it literally shakes your whole head, because when you wake up to that trauma, you just get out of the dimensions, and you cannot feel anything anymore. You're just the character. You become the character. So those boundaries were always crossed. And I the, because I don't know, and this question was basically, I also tried to search this, because writers do search, what should be the writing technique, where should we stop. But my point is, be water. It's not my words, it's Bruce Lee. Let it flow, let it come out, and we will see what will happen. It's always beautiful if your soul speaks. I called it as soul language. If your soul is speaking, do not ever try to pause. Forget all those techniques. I have read so many classics, and literally all those techniques, those classics, take it, and they throw it in the bin. People say do not use only said. You pick these old novels, and they will teach you. They always cross these boundaries. And that's why they become classic, because they question every single thing people might be thinking at that point of time, right? So the point is, I just let it flow. That's it.
Do you have a question, Jayanti,
So,
or should I go?
uh, not about your book, not only about your book, but generally, do you think authors have to depend on social media for promoting their books? Because every day, hundreds are published. Every day you can see so many books published, so many authors. And obviously, any author gets anxious. Can my book reach many readers, because it has something to tell the readers. It may not be as powerful as Endurer, but nevertheless it has something, and they of course want to. So how does social media play a role in this, Kapil Raj?
Well, I will give you a very simple answer, and I think, by this, and it's a it's a fantastic question, trust me. And I see many authors struggling with this particular thing. where is the start? How do what is marketing, or why social media? I'm an author. Why do I need to work so much after I get my novel done and things like that? Trust me, with social media things have become easier. Let me start with that. If people
Mm.
think social media is work, imagine you don't have Facebook, Instagram, or anything. Think about how you will reach people. It's almost close to impossible. There are two instances. You have 5 to 6 books, and you have, with each book you are adding 1,000 to 5,000 readers, or or at least reach. People know that first book has come. Now you have 5 to 6 books, and that creates some kind of market for you. Forget about it. When the moment you stop your editing, your book becomes a product. You have to understand that. And that
Mm.
product has an MRP. And
Mm.
if, as I always say, if the book doesn't reach a reader, it is not the whole point. Imagine a great dish by one of the best chef, and it just goes in waste bin. What's the whole point if I'm not able to eat it, right? So think
Correct.
with that manner. Secondly, social media is one of the, I know there is a whole lot of negativity comes around. You have to waste time, this, that. Tell me, or if somebody can answer who is saying anything against social media, if you don't have this, how are you going to reach? With one post I am reaching 5 to 10,000 views or people. how how will I be able to do that? You have to make, and the crucial point is, when are you going to strike people? When the book is published, people start going on social media and start to make posts. No, that's absolutely wrong to do. You have to start 6 months before. The plan has to start 6 months before the publishing date, so that at least you have a little bit of buzz, so that something is going to come which we should be reading. Forget everything, just look in your own personal sphere. How do you purchase a product? If you are going down the lane, why would you go and purchase a particular product? There's a possibility that you saw an ad. There's a possibility that you have trust on that brand. If that brand is new, there is a possibility you have seen a newspaper. Imagine from 5 to 7 sources. When you have already seen a thing, then you go and say, okay, fine, let me try this 200 or 300 bucks thing. Now there is a novel. Now think about it, how it is going to happen. You have to make people aware that there's something, at least exit. Forget about selling. I'm talking about making people aware. If they are not even aware, they won't even buy. Forget buying. I'm always saying, make people aware about your book. It's romance. It's forget, even I'm not talking about the subject also. Even if it's a romantic book, there are so many readers who are all there. Historical fiction, mythology. It's all out there. My point is, what, as an author or as a publishing house, again the whole thing comes in, whose responsibility is what. I'll not go into the whole point that what is the responsibility of author or publishing house. I'm trying to say that, why don't we, as an author, you already initiate the whole thing, and who it is going to benefit? It is going to benefit you. So with
Yes.
that chef to dish logic, I think we have to begin early, and I think we have to see it as a force. Otherwise, how? I don't see a way.
Understood.
So what I was saying is, why shouldn't we? I don't think I am out, and I think that's okay. That's absolutely fine, because every writer has its own writing process, and for me, it's fine to be with that book always, because I have to work. It's a cause, but it doesn't hamper my writing process. It doesn't work that way, because when you move on to the another subject, you start researching another novel. The whole thing takes a back seat, and you are into a new war, which you have to fight. So that's how it is for me, as from my personal experience.
Understood. Uh, we would like to have the next session, which is World of W's. And this segment is about all the W's, like, what, when, where, how, and why. So this will be like a rapid fire, and we would like to have like to the point answers, and it will be about the process of your publishing and writing than just generally focusing on this on Endurer alone. So the first question that I would like to ask is, what is hybrid publishing? Because you have spoken about it, we would like to know what it is.
Hybrid publishing is a mix, risk mitigated publishing, in which which is a mix of traditional and self publishing, where publisher takes the responsibility of publishing the book and the distribution, whereas in case if any loss happens, author has to be a part and ensure that the whole that you don't author has to ensure that that exactly does not happen. So there is a number. For example, if you publish, for example, publisher publishes X number of books. As an author, you have to ensure that that number of book actually goes in market. You collaboratively market. You collaboratively work on the book and make it, reach to the people. In case any loss happens, it will be beared and mitigated between both the parties. That's hybrid publishing.
In hybrid publishing, who does the editing and proofreading in the end? I mean, I'm talking about just before print, the end.
Well, it depends on the publisher. For me, my publisher did it.
Okay, depends on.
So there is a possibility that either of you can do, right? The author also can do it through his own sources. Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when is your next book coming out, or the two books that you were speaking about?
Well, the first book is in process. I think, if I'm not wrong, I will be starting to submit the my manuscripts within next month, and if I'm not wrong, within 6 months to 9 months, I think the book will be in the market.
How do you juggle your work, author, activist, life balance? I'm sure you must be working to earn as well, right?
Yeah.
How do you juggle time, etc.?
It's always a tough call. It's always you have to do intensive planning. Time management is one thing which you cannot live without. Everything has a time associated to it. Even social media, 15 minutes for this, 20 minutes for that. That is the way which I work upon, because it's too much at times. Things get out of hands and you have to balance it out. So balance and time management, that's the whole thing.
Understood.
And it's not easy. So we have to, that's a decision.
Understood. My next question is, where all can we find your books and your works? Like, can you give us a list of places that our listeners can go and search for your books and stuff?
Yeah, the book is available, of course, Amazon, Kindle, Google Books. It's all available over there. And with regard, in addition to it, there are, if I'm not wrong, around 50 to 60 bookstores in various cities are there where Endurer is available. In Sapna bookstore, in Pune, I have been able to see my books in one major bookstore in almost many cities in India.
That's good.
Understood. And my last question is, this is the last of the World of W's, and my last question is, why should someone read the Endurer? What is your aim? What are you trying to do with the book?
Well, to begin with, to be straightforward, I never ever say go and read Endeavor. Trust me, this is my first thing. I always say, because the message goes to all the readers and non-readers. I do not even bother that if somebody is purchasing and not. I only ask, and wherever I go in any of my session, I only say one thing: understand the ideology of Endeavor. If you're a reader or non-reader, just understand the ideology of Endurer, and it is very, very simple. As a society, as a member of society, try to understand your responsibility towards the crime of sexual assaults and all these crimes, rapes. and on a micro level, try to bring change by stop victimizing, stop victimizing, and the habit of judgment, the age old taboo of judgment of the victims. She is not a victim, she is an endurer. Give that respect. That's it.
Fantastic. That's a very good message you have ended with. Thanks for coming as our guest, Kapil. We have learned so much about Endurer, about what Endurer is carrying forward, and very impressed and honored. You have to come again when your next book comes. Um,
Sure.
on behalf of Sridhanya and myself, thank you, Kapil Raj.
Well, it was all my pleasure. Thanks for your time and, and this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.